It had been a long, exhausting week. Work had drained every ounce of energy I had, and the last thing I wanted was another sleepless night, alone with my thoughts. When I got home, I was hoping for something, anything, that would help me unwind. Jenna, my wife, was sitting on the couch, scrolling through her phone. I dropped my keys on the counter, not wanting to disturb her too much, but I could sense the distance in the air between us. "Hey," I said, my voice quiet. "How's your day?" "Fine," she replied, not looking up. "Busy. You know how it is." I nodded, trying to hide the frustration that was slowly creeping up on me. We hadn't had a real conversation in days. Everything felt like it was on autopilot. Empty routines, no connection, just going through the motions. I walked into the kitchen and grabbed a glass of water, trying to clear my head. I needed something to break the monotony of the week. I turned to Jenna, hoping for a change, for something different tonight. "Hey, I was thinking we could have dinner together tonight. Maybe a glass of wine, watch a movie, try to reconnect." Jenna didn't immediately respond. She looked at her phone for a moment longer, her eyes scanning the screen. Then, slowly, she put it down, sighed, and looked up at me. "I'm not in the mood tonight," she said, her voice soft, almost apologetic. I blinked, unsure of what to say. I knew she was tired, but there was something in her tone that made me feel unwanted. It wasn't the first time, but it still stung every time. I forced a smile, masking my disappointment. "Okay," I said, trying to sound casual. "No worries. Maybe another time." She gave a faint, half-hearted smile before retreating into the bedroom, leaving me standing there alone. I couldn't help but feel like we were drifting further apart with every passing day. I tried to shake off the feeling, but it lingered like a cloud, heavy and suffocating. I sat down on the couch, flicking through channels, but nothing seemed to hold my attention. I couldn't shake the thought that something wasn't right. I needed a distraction, something to take my mind off the distance between Jenna and me. That's when I heard a knock at the door. It was Kelly, Jenna's best friend. She and Jenna had been close for years, almost inseparable. I always appreciated Kelly's company. She was fun, spontaneous, and brought a certain energy into the room. She looked different tonight, though, more confident, maybe a little more daring. "Hey, David," she greeted, flashing me a warm smile. "I was in the neighborhood and thought I'd check in. How are you holding up?" I chuckled, the heaviness of the moment lifting slightly. "I'm good, just trying to pass the time." "Yeah, I can see that," Kelly said, walking into the living room. "Jenna's not up for much, huh?" I hesitated, not wanting to get into it, but I couldn't help myself. "She said she wasn't in the mood tonight." Kelly raised an eyebrow, sensing the underlying tension. "Well, that's too bad. Maybe you need someone to lighten the mood." I glanced at her, unsure of what she meant. "What do you mean?" "You know," Kelly said, her voice lowering. "Sometimes a little distraction is all you need." I could feel the temperature in the room shift, something unspoken hanging between us. Kelly sat down next to me on the couch, a little closer than usual, and I felt my pulse quicken. She was always playful, but tonight there was something different in her energy. We talked for a while, but the conversation had changed. There was an intimacy in her words, a subtle charge in the air. She laughed at my jokes, leaned in a little too close when she did. I felt a tug of something I hadn't felt in a long time, a connection, a spark, an energy I hadn't realized I missed. "So, how long has it been since you two had a real night?" Kelly asked casually, as though she was making small talk, but I could hear the undertone, the quiet implication. I didn't answer right away. I wasn't sure what to say. The silence stretched between us, uncomfortable, yet charged. "You know, David," Kelly continued, her voice almost a whisper now, "sometimes things don't work out how we expect them to. Relationships change, people change, but that doesn't mean you have to wait around for things to get better." I swallowed hard, my mind racing. I couldn't believe we were having this conversation. Kelly was always the fun one, the one who made light of everything. But now, there was something different about her, something more direct, more daring. I found myself leaning in, the distance between us shrinking. My heart was pounding in my chest, the weight of the moment pressing on me. "Are you suggesting what I think you're suggesting?" I asked, my voice barely audible. Kelly smiled, but it wasn't her usual playful smile. It was slow, deliberate, and it made my breath catch in my throat. "I'm just saying," she whispered, her face inches from mine. "Sometimes you have to take what you want. If Jenna's not going to give it to you, maybe I will." I froze, the words hitting me like a punch to the gut. My mind screamed at me to stop, to pull away, to walk out of the room. But my body betrayed me. The idea of crossing that line with Kelly, the woman who had always been there, the best friend of my wife, was both absurd and irresistible. Before I could make sense of what was happening, I heard footsteps approaching from the hallway. It was Jenna. She stopped in the doorway, her eyes locked on Kelly and me, the tension thick in the air. Kelly pulled away, but the damage had already been done. Jenna didn't say a word. She just turned and walked back into the bedroom, her footsteps soft but resolute. I sat there, frozen. What had just happened? What was I supposed to do now? Kelly's eyes met mine, and for a brief moment, I saw something dark, something dangerous, lurking beneath the surface. Well, Kelly said softly, standing up, maybe it's time to make a choice, David.